Mr.
Well, okay. Let's take a look at a two-way table problem. This was number 1 on our practice test. We had own, rent, and then we had male, female. Okay? And it looks like we were 132, 122, 50, and 44. And again, we want to make sure that the totals all add up. So we have 182, 166, and that adds up to 348. I'll put a little box around that. How about the rows? This was 254 and 94. And sure enough, they both add to 348. All right, let's answer some questions here. What percent of males own? Okay, so let's do percent males that own. Okay, so what am I looking for here? The males, 182, own 132. Okay, pretty good. And we'll calculate these right with the calculator. And then we'll pause the video right after all this and see if there's any questions. So this is about 72.5%. I hope you guys got that. All right, then it says, of the females, what percent rent? Same kind of question. Percent of females that rent. Okay, percent of females that rent. So I'm saying 166, I'm thinking 44. Okay, so here's what's interesting. After I do these two percentages, I can pretty much talk about the relationship between male-female own rent. Think about it. If 72.5% of the males own, that must mean about 27.5 rent. And if 26.5 of females rent, that must mean about 73.5 own. But what did you notice about those numbers? I just said they're about the same for each gender. So if you're looking for an association between gender and own rent, there isn't one. It's about the same. But let's do a few more. Of the females, what percent own? Percent of females that own? Well, it should be everybody else, right? I mean, if 26.5 rent, I'm sure hoping that 73.5 own. Okay, so let's see what that number is. So females own 122 out of 166. You want to bet that that's 73.5? Again, I'm just doing this on the calculator here. 73.5. And then finally, to D. So that was A, B. Oh, 1% of the males rent. Sorry, I skipped that one. Percent of males that rent. Well, I'll tell you right now, we all know what that is, right? That's got to be 27.5%. Okay, describe the relationship. Not only is there not a difference, it's almost identical. Look at that. So there does not appear to be a difference. So roughly no difference between males and females regarding rent own. I mean, that's what you notice here. I mean, I guess I could have done these in different colors, but look, here's the males, 72.5, 27.5. Here's the females, 73.5, 26.5. Those are kind of about the same. Right? And you could do nice.
Gender doesn't have to do with.
Yeah, it's
housing.
nothing to do with it. That's what you'd say.
And are you gonna have us calculate like the actual percentages, or can you leave it as a fraction on the test?
Either one.
Okay.
Either one. All right, so that's the first part of problem number one. Here's another one. Let's see if there's a relationship between married, unmarried, and rent-owned. So male, female, all the single people, right? They're the same. Let's do married, unmarried, rent-owned. So same kind of problem, okay? We're gonna do the same problem with married, unmarried. So let's do that over here. Well, actually, hold on. So here's that final tally right there. So you can pause the video if you need to write that down, and then we'll look at married, unmarried. Okay, dramatic pause. Now let's go married, unmarried, rent-owned. Same problem, okay? Let's do married, unmarried. Oh, I'm gonna run out of space there, aren't I? If I squeeze you in. And then let's go own, rent. And the same kind of thing. Let's fill this in. 172, 40, 82, 54. And so what we want is the total. Right, can we see that? Sure. So here we go. The first thing we do when we do all these problems is we do the total. That should be 348. Let's add the rows, 172 and 82, 254, and 94. Gets us to 348. No problem. All good. Is there a relationship entre married, unmarried, and own rent? Well, let's find out. Here we go. What percent of married own? And so what you might want to do is before you even start the problem, what would you guess? What would you guess?
If you're married, you're more likely.
Married people are more likely to
Yeah,
own.
I would say, well, probably married people own, right? Because people wait until their finances are set before they get married. Some do, some don't, right? Some elope after high school and drive in their car and go out to California and say, we're going to make it on our own. And then they're back in their parents' basement 2 weeks later. But, right? Percent married. I'm thinking it's going to be married, but let's kind of find out. What percent of married people own? So we go down to 212. 172. Right? Let's go percent of not married own. You see what I'm doing here? Right? There's no secret here what we're doing. So we go to unmarried 136, and they own 82. Right? And again, we can calculate those two percentages right here with our $125 calculator that accomplishes the same thing as a $5 calculator, but later on it's going to be worth it, trust me. 81.1%. I'm hoping you guys got these values. And then 82 out of 136, about 60%. Okay, so that confirms our suspicion. All right. And then married rent, non-married rent, well, it's just going to be the difference between that and 100%, right? And so describe the relationship. Yeah, married implies higher percentage own. That's really it. You don't need to say a whole lot more than that. Most of the time, statisticians get in trouble when they say too much. Okay? Let's just make the conclusion from the data, a higher percentage of married people own. We leave it to the other end of the building to talk about why, right? Right? That's moral philosophy with Mr. Eckerson, and AP Comp Gov with Ms. Heckman, and English literature with Mr. Tawney. That's when you talk about the whys. Math side, we're easy, man. We deal with right, wrong, truth, no truth. That's why I teach math, man. Truth. It's about truth. Okay. Have a great day. There's your two-way tables.